Thank you, Neri. Good morning. As folks are joining, I'll get the good morning, Jen. Are you going to share your screen or do you want me to? I can't.
Yeah, I'm able to. I have it up
Okay,
and ready
great.
to go.
So perfect. So we'll give folks a minute to join. Good morning and welcome here on Thursday, July 24th. Big Red Sox win last night. Oh, I see you, Kim. Yeah. So that was exciting. I did call my cousin, even though the Phillies won too. We're good. The other thing I just want to share is I listened to the two 9:30 calls I missed this week. So if you aren't listening to the ones that you miss, I encourage you to do it. They're all on our YouTube channel. We have a playlist for the 9:30 calls. So it was so great to hear the story of Little Amigos that Michelle shared. And so I'll put that link in chat for the YouTube. So we record all of the 9:30 calls, most of them. And so that's also why we keep AI out of the calls. I know some people have it connected to their calendar, but we would like you to watch the authorized version of the 9:30 call on our YouTube channel. Good morning, Pratima.
Good morning, Amy. It's nice to
It's
see you.
great to have you and and Luisa, so many folks joining us today. So Pratima, I'm going to turn things over to you to kind of help with the introductions. And as you know, our first question is for everyone to share a little bit about themselves, how they came to be in your current role. And we're so glad and excited to hear from you today.
Thank you, Amy. So I am here joined with Maria Menzi, Jen DiCato, and Luisa Munoz, and we will all introduce ourselves and then share about our work. So we can begin with Jen.
Sure. Good morning. I'm Jen DiCato, the Program Director of Drive Initiative at United Way of Mass Bay. Drive is part of our early education and out of school time impact area, specifically focused on early childhood screening and referral practices. So, two high-level goals of Drive is to advance equitable developmental screening and referral practices across communities and to promote healthy child development through family engagement and connections to resources and referral services. Prior to working at United Way, I worked directly with children and families at an early intervention program in Boston. Before that, I was a classroom teacher, and my favorite role of all is mom of three daughters, ages 7, 5, and 2. And I'll hand it over to Maria.
Hi, good morning. I'm Maria Menzi from Family Nurturing Center of Massachusetts. I'm the Citywide Director of Boston Family Engagement Network, and that's a coalition of early childhood organizations across 9 neighborhoods of Boston, promoting family engagement, nurturing children, and empowering parents. I have over 45 years of experience in the early childhood field in various roles as the Director of Children and Family Services, Head Start, MIT Lincoln Lab Children's Center. And before landing at Family Nurturing Center, in my current role 6 years ago, I was a grantee specialist for Office of Head Start, Region 1 training and technical assistance, traveling around New England supporting Head Start and early Head Start programs. And I will pass this on to, is it
Lisa.
Luisa? Okay.
Me? Yes.
Mhm.
Hi, Luisa.
Hi. Hi, everybody. Luisa Munoz. I work as a content marketing director at United Way. Um, and the reason I fit in here is because in my role, I use storytelling to amplify voices and bring the experience to life. Because behind every system and every policy, there are real people. And their stories are the ones that are going to help us to understand what's working, what's not working, what's missing, why our work matters. So that's kind of my passion. I also share the role of mom as Jen, and also a mom of three twins, girls and a boy. So it's beautiful to mix my mom role with this theme of early education. And before landing to United Way, at United Way, I worked for 3M, the Post-it and Scotch company, but based on Latin America. So I was a brand marketing director there for 10 years. And then I'm here in the nonprofit world, which I love it.
Thank you, Luisa. So my name is Pratima Patil. I am the Assistant Director for Programs and Policy at the Boston Opportunity Agenda, where I co-lead the Every Child Ready initiative alongside my partners here today. I've been with BOA for about 6 years. We are a public-private partnership focused on the cradle to career educational pipeline in Boston. Much of my work focuses on the early childhood part of that pipeline. Prior to BOA, I conducted research in the fields of public health and education, specifically on disparities in health and education outcomes, and with a focus on early cognitive development. And I'm also currently pursuing my doctorate in education at Boston University. And so we are all happy to be here today. And thank you, Amy, for having us here. Jen, you can share the slides.
Right.
And as Jen is doing that, Louisa, we are so grateful. Last summer, we were one of the stories that you told. So I'm going to put the link in chat. We were grateful for that. And it's great to see Aisha from Boston Opportunity Agenda and Carly Gaciello from United Way as well.
Yeah, thank you, Amy. So this morning, we'll start with a brief overview of our early developmental screening initiative before turning our attention to the communications work that Luisa has done. You might remember us as Screen Every Child. That was our original name. We have since shifted to Every Child Ready to learn, grow, and succeed. And we're still using the ASQ, which is the Ages and Stages questionnaire, as our main screening tool. So we can go to the first slide. Okay. In the first few years, we are now in the second phase of our initiative, but in the first phase of our initiative, we focused on building a strong foundation in Boston. We worked on expanding access to high-quality screenings across formal and informal settings, creating tools to ensure standardization, and deepening family engagement. Now, in our second phase, we've shifted our focus towards building stronger family navigation supports, connecting systems, advancing community leadership, and developing targeted communication campaigns. Now I'll hand it over to Maria to talk about our partners.
Funded by Boston Children's Hospital and under the leadership of Boston Opportunity Agenda, Every Child Ready is certainly a partnership of United Way Drive, Boston Public Schools, United Way Shared Services, and Family Nurturing Center and BFEN. Together, as Pratima mentioned, we have actually aligned the best practices of the ISQ system across family childcare, center-based, and community-based sectors. In each
Oh, you went on mute, Maria.
Maria, you somehow muted yourself.
Oh gosh.
There you
Okay,
go.
I'm going to start again. Sorry. Okay. Every Child Ready, funded by Boston Children's Hospital and under the leadership of Boston Opportunity Agenda, Every Child Ready is quite a partnership of United Way Drive, Boston Public Schools, United Way Shared Services, and Family Nurturing Center, BFEN. Each partner plays a real critical role in implementing this project. Together, as Pratima has mentioned, we have aligned the best practices of the ASQ system across family childcare, center-based, and community-based sectors. One key component is the innovative Parent Screening Coach program overseen by Family Nurturing Center. Parent screeners receive individual coaching sessions from experienced parent screener coaches to strengthen screener skills and address challenges in working with families with ASQ. To get, through our community of practices, which are facilitated and with the help of the parent leaders, we are incorporating concepts from the Brazelton touch points, and also development is a journey. Development is a journey roadmap, and this is a way to professionalize the parent screener role, to enhance the ASQ process, and also to empower our parent leaders in Boston.
All right, I think
Jen.
that's me. Thank you, Maria. So after 3 years, the Screen Every Child initiative, which includes the parent screeners, family child care educators, community-based organizations, center-based childcare in Boston, collectively completed just under 15,000 ages and stages questionnaire screenings. The data showed that almost 40% of children screened scored with a potential or strong concern on the ASQ. Screen Every Child saw a growing need to create a universal screening referral mapping tool to best support screeners and providers. The referral mapping tool was designed with the help of parent screener coaches. Their input helped to guide the areas that were challenging when working with children and families around developmental screenings and connecting families to referral services. So what could be found in the mapping tools was a flow chart to kind of guide screeners through the whole process, a checklist to help them to kind of be able to monitor where they're at in the process, a list of resources and referrals that they can refer to when they are making recommendations to families. And then we had several scenarios that can come up and action steps on how they might address those particular scenarios. We also work together to create and implement fidelity monitoring tools with the goal of ensuring universal screening practices across all sectors of early education. These tools helped us to track how screens were administered, how screening data was entered, and how results were shared with families across Boston partners. Based on the data tracked from our fidelity monitoring tools, 89% of our partners were observed with high fidelity of screening tool utilization and data entry. We're proud of the work all of our partners were able to accomplish in the last few years, and we learned where to focus our priorities for the continuation of this grant we now refer to as Every Child Ready. I am excited to hand this off to my colleague, Luisa, who played an instrumental role in bringing our vision and hope of having a communication campaign to uplift the importance of developmental screenings.
Thank you, Jen. Okay, so first and foremost, I was absolutely thrilled to go on the ground and meet some of the screener coaches. One thing is what you hear, like what they do and how they do it, but other like different thing is just going there and see like on your own eyes what they are actually doing with the family, and it's a absolutely beautiful work. And I try to take that and transfer to blogs and social media just to bring the human side of this program. So next slide, Jen, please. So it was me with the kids. I was like loving it. So this campaign was based on a 360 lens. We wanted to grounded what screening means for families. Sometimes, maybe most of the times, screenings and early intervention feel far away from the people they're meant to serve. Families have a lot of stigma around, they have fear, they don't know how does it work. So with this campaign, we wanted to bring the real stories from families, educators, and providers so we can try to make it more human and connected to them. So the solution was this campaign, and then we wanted, as we have said through the presentation, we wanted to break down stigma, make information more accessible for families, normalize the screenings as a tool, not as a label, and equip families with the language and confidence that they need to see screening as a pathway to support and success, not as a barrier. So these are kind of like the visual storytelling I created for these beautiful stories with Huang, with Joanna, one of the moms. And so you can find this in our social media. Next. So the assets, what I created, but based on all the exploration and interviews that I conducted with the people. 3 blog posts, one with the moms, Three moms were just saying what a screening meant for them and how it helped them thrive and their kids. So this is like real voices. Change makers, series for the screening coaches, for these two amazing screening coaches that we have, Megan and Huang, and the myths and facts around screening. So these were based on coaches' insights. It's not that I made it up. They were telling us what always are the fears that they hear from families. So we created that list of the myths and facts to debunk them. And in social media, we just try to recreate what these blogs are about, but try to make it in a visual storytelling type of thing. So I invite you to go and take a look and spread it as you need. Next. So what's more powerful than moms talking to moms? And I talked like also in my point of view. I didn't know what screening was when I came to United States. I was like, and people were talking to me like, oh, do you do the screening to your kids? And I'm like, what is that? Like people think that you know, and sometimes is that what we also do with other families. So what we were trying to do is like, hey, you mom, say to other moms what it is. So it was beautiful to hear the stories of these three moms, different backgrounds, different contexts, but they were together in the same voice. It's not a label, it's not a barrier, it's not a stigma. You can do this with support. Don't be afraid. So these quotes are very powerful. We have them in social media, so also you can share it with other moms, because when they hear from people like them, it start to build trust and they start to empower them to make more like informed decisions. Next. And then what is a campaign without the numbers? So we found out that Changemakers was one with the screening coaches was one of our social posts with more engagements. We wish we could have more. That's why we need you to help us spread the word. The video with the myths debunked also got really good engagements. But in overall, the change makers and the moms got the most top content in our social media. So you see that this is a topic that is important for people. So we need to keep like moving the voice and being more active in our social channels so we can help to spread more of this content. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say today. Maybe just as a summary, we can't rely on data and policy. We need those, obviously, but we need to center the voices of the most impacted. We have to show the human side, and the only way to do it is reposting our stories. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And there's just want to go to the chat for a minute. So Aisha shared, good morning. I'm so proud to be working with this great team. As the executive director of the Boston Opportunity Agenda, our work as Boston's cradle to career public-private partnership is all done through incredible partnerships like those of the Every Child Ready initiative presented today. Donna Danette shares, as a provider, we found that the fear stigma was the number one factor in increasing the time it took between identifying a need and a child receiving services and interventions. Kim Davenport says 14,000 and plus screenings is amazing. Congratulations. Do you know the breakdown of the age groups of children screened? Are you hoping to build the campaign to ensure children are screened over time versus just one time?
So I could take that question. Thank you, Kim. Yes, we actually do collect the age, and we have a breakdown of performance by age and how many, different based on the different age groups, how many received a screening by each age. And then as far as the campaign for, ensuring children are screened over time, I think the biggest hope is that, really to have as much access out there as possible for children and families to receive a screening. The earlier the better, always. That 0 to 3 is definitely an age group that we want to really concentrate on, because we know that the sooner that they receive interventions, the more likely that they'll be ready, when it comes time to start school. So I would say, that would be the focus, and also connecting families. So if there is an initial screen, the hope is that they'll be connected to resources and referrals that they need. And then if it is, if they do score on track, or maybe they're with a potential concern, then we do promote that they do get a rescreen about 3 to 6 months later, to just make sure that progress is being made, and that they are being, their development is being monitored.
Great. And then Melora wondered, for other communities who might be interested in replicating this model, do you have any sort of playbook for your incredible program process lessons learned? And then Kim also wondered where the biggest uptick in screening is. So how do other communities kind of figure this out? And then any uptick in screening?
Yeah, so these are great questions. So as far as for other communities, this is something that, I know, speaking for a drive, we are looking to expand, so we are recently have been working in Lawrence and Lowell. And so there, I think one of the biggest lessons that we've learned is really understanding that community and what that specific community's needs are. Hearing from the families, what are challenges from them, and from there, we could sort of replicate a lot of the tools that were created here in Boston, but have it really be for that particular community and what's going to work for them. Those referral mapping tools I know we'll want to use in many of the other communities as we start to expand. The parent screener model, that's something that we're also going to be launching in Lawrence, and hopefully throughout our footprint.
Yeah, and to build on what Jen shared, the coaching curriculum that Maria spoke about, she has created a coaching guide. All of our resources are also standardized, because that was one of our goals. So we have put all of that together. All of our tools were piloted and reworked to make sure they worked for our communities, and all of that is available. And we have had other communities such as Cambridge want to adapt some of our tools. And so similar with all of that and the communications blogs, we want to share all this. We know other communities have similar challenges to us, and especially in terms of stigma and increasing awareness. And we want you to please use all of these tools we created, especially the communication blogs that Luisa has created. As far as the question about the biggest uptick, communications is still the domain that has the largest the most number of children screening with concern. And that's followed by socio-emotional and behavioral issues.
And Pratima, can you talk a little bit about the partnership piece? Like so many people Boston has had a long history of, working together. It could be a different acronym, it could be a different organization. Can you talk a little bit, like, how did you think about the partnership? And then Kelly Culdred added, I might have missed this, but do you also have a sense of how the screeners lead to more uptake via the referral resources? So maybe take that one first.
Okay. Maria, did you want to answer the screener one?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Okay. How the screeners lead to more uptake via the referral resources?
How do they lead to more referrals?
More screenings.
More screening. Oh, well, through the outreach that they do with the Boston Family Engagement Network being in the 9 neighborhoods. Our parent screeners are coming from the neighborhood, and they do a lot of outreach. And it's through our parent-child play groups, our parent education programs, farmers market, and those types of things. They do outreach, and that's how they get more and more screenings through the children. And then they work with the coaches to pretty much see how they can increase that recruitment, and also to work with the coaches on where to do the referrals and how to follow up with parents and how to use the development as a journey roadmap in terms of approaching families.
Yeah, and all these tools and resources that Maria has mentioned the screeners, the community screeners use to support families and engage them, really deep in their relationships, because they have to build trust with families, and the families then will follow along. And it's hand-holding process, because it's a scary journey for families to take on and to understand. So, when there's trust built between the screeners, especially community screeners and informal settings, because screeners are from their neighborhoods, speak their language, understand their circumstances, who they are, their culture. And so they feel more comfortable connecting with this person, more connected. And so they're able to trust this person to then take the advice to move forward with a referral, even conduct a screening and understand what is going on with their child and have access to more resources to support their child.
Kim Davenport, of
go
course,
ahead.
also talked about the intersection with the health system. So I don't know if you want to say a word about that.
So
About
part of
having-
our
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. So that is part of our priority in the second phase of this work, to really connect with the health systems. In the first phase, we were really trying to standardize that work, that deepen that family engagement, to make sure that and Gloria always says this, but there's no wrong door. So no matter who a family is across Boston, they have the same experience in terms of screening and referral and support. So as we move into the second phase, we are working on building those system connections between healthcare, education, community, because we know families need to navigate all of that, and that is difficult to do, especially when the systems aren't connected. So we have some examples of how there are connections with the health system, with health centers and hospitals, and we're working on building upon that.
And then
our emails are in the chat.
Pratima shared all the email addresses up in chat, which I can put in the chat. So Pratima, 1 minute less. Can you talk about the partnership? Because I think it's incredible to have all these folks working together.
Yeah, as we're thinking about this from a system level, the partnership is extremely important. We all of us touch different aspects of Boston at a system level and at a community level, and we all bring different expertise. So it really takes all of us, between the United Way and Family Nurturing Center, Boston Opportunity Agenda, the Boston Public Schools and Early Education, and the Office of Early Childhood and Shared Services. We all work with different pieces of the community, but we need all those pieces to work in coordination and communicate with each other. And so that's something we do centrally, and then we're able to implement across the system.
Right. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. It's great to hear everyone's perspective and all the great information. And Jen, I think you sent the slides, but my link is not working to the slides. So if you could resend them, we'll add them to the 9:30 call follow-up folder, where we have all the slides, 5+ years of history of the 9:30 call. But we're so grateful that you could all join us today. We know, especially with 4 people, to get a date that works is incredible. And just want to thank you for being here and for the work and for your kind of your willingness to share all that you've learned and the resources that you have developed. And please come back anytime with any updates.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you
will
for
be
having
back
me.
on the 9:30 call next week. On Monday, we're going to hear from Krista McSwain and Paula from the Boston Children's Council. And then and Thursday next week, we're going to hear from folks from the task force, the governor's task force, that are going to share an update. So we'll send the full schedule today, or excuse me, tomorrow, and we'll see you next week on the call. So have a great day.
Can I add one thing, Amy?
Oh,
I just
sure.
want to say that the local WIC programs statewide utilize the Act Early, Learn the Signs in our part of our nutrition equipment. So we also have check the app on our WIC Shopper app.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Alicia.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. And we will see you next week.
Thank you.
It's gonna